For the past few months, there are a lot of things happening in this world. From war crimes, new variant of virus, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, and then there's me who play a simplified gacha games. That's right, Touhou LostWord is one of the many fan games of Touhou that, unlike most of them, has a pretty unusual growth. If you somehow don't know what Touhou is, it's really hard to explain to normal people standard. So I'm gonna make this easy to understand. Basically, Touhou or Touhou Project is a series of games where girls shoot things. Kind of like the standard lives in the US, but imagine the bullets are beautiful, colorful, and magical that can still be deadly. Anyway, Touhou means eastern side or eastern direction. The word east here doesn't merely mean as one of the points in the compass, but it is more like the Eastern Asian, as the games are adopting the Eastern folklore niche, aka Japanese/Chinese folklore. Of course, with a touch of Japanese modern culture, these folklore individuals portrayed as anime-ish female characters mostly. Touhou is the #1 franchise in Japanese Comic-Cons every single year, with the most amount of doujins or fanworks, to even having its own convention called Hakurei Jinja Rei Taisai, which literally means the annual Hakurei Shrine Big Festival. I'm not even joking, that's literally means. However, despite its popularity among otaku people, Touhou series isn't really popular among normies. Not only the games are mostly difficult, but also the story of Eastern folklore isn't a cup of tea for most of people. Even some hardcore anime fans mostly don't know about it because this series has no anime or manga. There's no modern adaptation such as anime or manga, and yes, there is no official Touhou anime or manga adaptation despite the series being around for 25 years. But then Touhou LostWord comes in like a storm. It was released in Japan in April 2020 when the world panics facing a big crisis of viral infection. The game was highly popular and became topic of Western Touhou fandom until finally the English version of the game was released worldwide a year later in May 2021. As the making of this video, Touhou LostWord has over 1 million downloads, boosting its position as one of the most popular Touhou games. The game was created by a group called Next Ninja and being published by a Japanese hobby manufacturer, Good Smile Company Incorporation. The game is also licensed by the official Touhou creator, Jun himself of the team Shanghai Alice. So what makes this game quite popular? For the past months, I have been experiencing the game firsthand in video and live stream forms, so you can check the playlist in the description of this video. In this video, I'm gonna talk and summarize about how my experience going in this game. So let's talk about gameplay first. Touhou LostWord is a turn-based role-playing game which you can create party consisting of maximum 6 characters in the team. Player must defeat enemies that coming in waves with the turn-based battles in order to progress forward in the game. Now, I always being not a big fan of turn-based battle in a nutshell, because as a fan of more action-packed games, I always feels weird about turn-based RPG. I like to imagine how weird it is to have a fight in real life with turn-based system. Well, despite being a turn-based, this game has some pretty fun aspects to it. The game is surprisingly complex with a lot of things to understand. Each character has 6 features on them: HP, agility, yin attacks, yin defense, yang attack, and yang defense. Each character has its strong and weak point. Additionally, the characters have multiple spell cards, which is like a super move for each character and can only be used once per battle. There's one special super move called LostWord spell card, which is the strongest power move in a character basically. The game also features story cards where you can attach them to each spell card to further increase those specific stats on the spell. And like all gacha games, you have to farm for materials in order to make your character stronger. Luckily, this game has an auto farm mode where you can set up a character that are strong enough into a team and repeatedly doing the same battle infinitely. Well, until your spirit power done, which is the form of energy in this game. By the way, a character in this game is called Friend. So if you don't have Friend in real life, you can always get Friend here. That sounds so sad. Overall, I kinda like the mechanics of this game with all the character building stuffs, but nothing really special on my mind. I liked to see the characters' animation doing the attacks and spell cards. I like that big numbers on the screen, the damage numbers, but since it's a turn-based RPG, I can't really say more. Yeah, I know it is just a me things about not really liking the turn-based RPG, but I prefer more of an action-packed adventure than just I punch you, you punch me, I punch you, you punch me. If one day there is a Touhou game that has the same mechanics as Genshin Impact, I would love to support it the best I can. But for this game, I will give the gameplay 3.6. Not great, not terrible.
Me too. 3.6. Not great, not terrible.
In my opinion, the addition of voice actors really make these games feels alive. Not only that, I can't argue that the art style of the characters are really good. Not to mention the story cards. Man, this has some pretty high artistic levels going on here. If one day there's an official Touhou anime, I would like it to be in this style because of how perfectly well drawn they are. But then there is one small flaw that I really want to point out, which is the poses of some characters. There is no denying fact that the character designs were amazing. It is more like at the level of a CG art style, you know. But this is also a problem when they implementing this CG pose in the conversations of the game. Imagine you talk to a people and they talk back, but they doesn't look at you in the face, but instead they backing you and exposes their backside. Or imagine having a conversation with someone who are about to do an overhead kick to the goalkeeper, or imagine having a conversation with someone that about to throwing some knives, or someone doing a martial arts, or someone holding a camera all the time, or but yeah, you guys know what I mean, right? So yeah, just a little thing to point out that some people actually enjoy this game to the storyline level. It feels not normal when in the game you're having a dialogue, but these characters having the weirdest pose ever possible. I think it will be better if they adding one type of character art, which is the normal pose art, where they just standing normally and having conversation looking at the viewers. Well, that aside, since this is a character design we're talking about, I like the design very much, and I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5. Although there are some moments where the music doesn't really fit in the situation. For example, sometimes in the story, in a bad situation or sad situation, some upbeat music plays in the background. Well, Touhou music is Touhou music. It's awesome, and so the one in this game too. The musical production is top notch, so I'm just gonna give it 5 out of 5. Alright, storyline time. I want to talk a lot about storyline in this game because I feel like this is the main appeal for someone who doesn't really invested in the gacha aspect of the game, or someone who just loves storytelling in general, like myself. In this one, I'm just gonna review the main storyline as I am not reading the Hifu story counterpart, and I'm not really invested with the events storyline because it is just a story that comes and go. Also, spoiler alert, there are small spoilers and slightly big spoilers, so I'm just gonna put, some timestamps here on the screen. So the game starts with this main character who suddenly appears in Gensokyo out of nowhere. Don't know why, don't know how. As the story progresses, it was revealed that this MC is the key to solve the upcoming problem or incident, as we know in Gensokyo's language. The story progresses involving a mysterious item called a seal crystal that's scattered all over Gensokyo, and the seal crystals is apparently a door to a parallel world. That's right, this is the only Touhou game that using the clever concepts of parallel Gensokyos. If we talk talking about time travel theory, parallel world is infinite. So yeah, this is why it's a gacha game. The concept of the story will take ages to finish. The game's main story involves an incident called the LostWord incident. As the name suggests, there is a certain word that's lost or forgotten in each parallel universe. Nobody knows this lost word, not even the MC, but there is a way to find it. The MC holding a certain journal that can record everything she experienced, especially in Gensokyo. The lost word was in the journal, but the girls must unravel some mysteries surrounding this lost word until they finally find it. What I really like about this lost word incident is the way of how apocalyptic it is, because one lost word can apparently affecting the balance of the entire world, resulting in the same outcome that the world will end, which kind of dark. The storyline is kind of dark in a way. I think not even the storyline of the official games has this kind of dark stories. The usual incident solvers like Reimu or Marissa, even sages like Yukari have no idea how to solve this incident, approving the first concept that yeah, they are no match for this incident without the help of the MC. The prologue story is introducing us to some cast of Gensokyo residents, and yeah, some petty conflicts among the cast about how unique this seal crystal thing and the power sealed inside. It's a good way to introduce some major characters in the game to some people who play these games and doesn't know what Touhou is. In chapter 1, finally introducing us to how the lost word incident affecting Gensokyo in the first parallel universe. Kinda just explaining of how the lost word works and what will happen if we fail to find them. And then chapter 2 is by far my favorite chapter. There is balance in the length of the storyline and how the story unfolds. We also be introduced to this mysterious figure who's seemingly being the mastermind of this lost word incident. And chapter 3, let's talk about this. In my opinion, chapter 3 is the most interesting, the most intense, but also the weirdest and the most frustrating story so far. There is a sudden spike of new characters introduced in the storyline, which I think is not a good way to introduce Touhou to new fans. You remember how amazingly popular this game is, and I believe there's gonna be new fans of Touhou just get into this game. Even I, as a Touhou fan, as a lore enthusiast, are being overwhelmed by this. The act 3 of chapter 3 is the only act that I didn't really enjoy reading. Too many characters introduced with some really heavy Eastern folklore style storylines. You know, the concept of spirits, temperaments, etc. I think they can make it simpler, or maybe just split the act 3 into 2 acts. So we have act 3 and act 4 and then finale. Well, fortunately enough though, act finale in this chapter is straight to the point, and yeah, I like it. There are so many things that they can improve in the story. The delivery, the mood of the story. There are some parts of the story that doesn't really positioned right, like I don't know if this is the right time to do it, kind of things. For example, in a bad and grim and apocalyptic situation, there are some girls who want to play. Please let me be your big sisters, I love you, let's play together, that's kind of things. You know, it's happened a lot in the game. Yeah, call me a weirdo, but even for gacha games, I think storyline and storytelling are important. Some people say don't read the storyline, it's weird, just skip it, just play the games. But remember that someone wrote this storyline, and I wanna appreciate it the way I can do by actually reading the storyline. So yeah, for the story, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. So many weird things going on, but I'm actually amazed of how engaging the storyline is. So for the end score, if you put these numbers in average score, it's gonna be 4 out of 5, right? But I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5 because I feel like there are so many things in these games that I don't know probably. I just play this game for like 3 months, and I think it's pretty irresponsible for me to give that high of a score. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Pretty good gacha games overall, and it's also mobile games. Most people have smartphone nowadays, so yeah, just go for it and download. This game has a lot of endgame contents, by the way, so you can always have something to do in this game, like grinding for dungeons or battle in arena. I also covering these games a lot in this channel, so if you like this game, maybe consider subscribe. Also check out my gameplay playlist, link in the description below. If you agree or disagree with my opinions, leave a comment. I would like to hear your opinion too, or maybe you have lucky gacha moments you want to share. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys again later.